All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden structure that powers, well, pretty much everything you do online. We're talking about databases and the language that makes them tick.
Seriously, have you ever stopped to think about it? How does your favorite streaming service remember you're halfway through season 3? Or how on earth does a shopping site keep that book in your cart even if you close the browser and come back a day later? Well, the answer to all of that is a well-organized database.
And all that data, every single view, every click, every item you add to a cart, it has to go somewhere. It can't just be this chaotic digital mess. So first up, let's talk about how we bring some order to that chaos.
At the very heart of all this is the database. And you can forget about old dusty filing cabinets. This is more like a super smart, lightning-fast digital version. Its one and only job is to store information, manage it, and then find it again in a snap when an app needs it. It's the central library for all the data.
Okay, so we've got this giant digital filing cabinet. Awesome. But how do we actually use it? How do we put things in and get things out in a predictable, organized way? That's where the star of our show comes in, SQL. It's all about bringing structure to the party.
To really get this, it helps to know there are kind of two main flavors of databases. On one side, you've got SQL databases. And the best way to think about these is like a perfectly organized Excel spreadsheet. Everything has its place, the columns are fixed, it's all super neat. And then you've got NoSQL. This is more like a big folder where you just shove sticky notes, random documents, you name it. It's flexible, yeah, but way less structured.
Now, both of these have their place, for sure. But for this explainer, we're going to stick with that first one, the super organized, structured world of SQL. Why? Because it's literally the foundation for so much of the web as we know it.
All right, to really get SQL, we have to look at its most basic building block. So let's do a little anatomy lesson and break down the data table. So the absolute core of any SQL database is the table. And here's the good news. If you've ever used something like Excel or Google Sheets, you already get this concept. It's really just a grid, right? Rows and columns, all designed to hold pieces of information that belong together.
And boom, here's a perfect simple example, a users table. See how clean that is? It's organized, it tells us stuff about our users. Pretty straightforward, right?
Now let's zoom in a bit. Each horizontal line in that table is a row. You might also hear it called a record. So in our example, that entire entry for Peter Parker, his ID, name, email, and age, all of that together makes up one single row. It's one complete piece of information about one specific user.
The vertical sections, those are the columns. A column's job is to define a specific category of information for all the rows. So the name column will only ever hold text, and the age column will only ever hold numbers. It's the rule that keeps our data organized and predictable.
So we have these neat individual tables. Cool. But this, right here, is where the real magic happens. The true power of a database isn't just storing data, but in connecting it. And that brings us to our next big idea.
And that magic is called a relationship. This is the concept that lets us link information from one table to another. Instead of stuffing all our information into one giant messy spreadsheet, we can keep things separate and clean, and then connect them when we need to.
Let's go back to our users table. Notice that Peter has a unique ID of 1. Think of this ID as his unique serial number in our system. No one else can have it. This is the key.
Now look at this, a completely separate table just for orders. It has its own ID, a product, and a price. But look closely at that user ID column. It has the number 1 in it. That is not a coincidence. That's our link.
So how does this all work? It's actually incredibly simple. The system sees an order with a user ID of 1. It then just looks over at the users table, finds the user with the ID of 1, and voila, it knows this pizza order belongs to Peter. This is exactly how websites connect you to your shopping cart, your watch history, or your posts.
So let's wrap this up. Why is this structured approach so powerful? Because it guarantees your data is good. By having these strict rules for what goes where, the information stays clean, consistent, and reliable. And that makes everything incredibly fast and efficient, which is exactly what you need when you're managing millions of users or products.
So let's quickly recap the 5 key ideas. The database is our main filing cabinet. Inside we have tables, which are like individual spreadsheets. Each row in a table is a single record, and each column defines a specific category of data. And finally, the most powerful part, the relationship, which is the magic link that connects all these tables together.
And that's really it.
Those 5 simple concepts, this elegant blueprint, form the backbone of an incredible number of applications you use every single day, from social media to banking to streaming services. It's the hidden skeleton that makes the modern digital world work.
It's a system designed for order, speed, and reliability. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you understand the blueprint, what could you build with it?